So here you are, nearing 70, maybe already there. You've worked hard, raised your family, saved what you could, and now you're hoping to enjoy the next chapter with a little peace and freedom, or what happens if I forget to withdraw enough? It's confusing, especially when all you want is to enjoy your retirement, not wrestle with rules from the IRS. But lately, maybe you've heard folks mentioning something called RMDs, or withdrawal penalties, and you're wondering, now don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those dry, number-crunching lectures. We're going to keep this simple, real, and focused on helping you protect what you've worked so hard for: your savings, your peace of mind, and your legacy. Is there something I need to be doing before this next birthday hits? You're not alone every week. I get questions from folks just like you. Do I have to take money out of my IR now? Now, I know that sounds like one of those intimidating financial terms, but don't worry, we're going to break it down so it actually makes sense. And that's why today's video is here to walk you through 5 essential retirement withdrawal rules that kick in as you approach age 70. And if you're finding value in this kind of helpful, down-to-earth advice, I'd love for you to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel Vibrant Elders, and leave a comment below with any questions you might have. We're all in this together, and your story might help someone else too. Then check the IRS Uniform Lifetime Table. That's the one most people use unless your spouse is more than 10 years younger. And it's one of the easiest steps you can take to stay in control of your finances after 70. You divide your balance by the number next to your age. That's your RMD for the year. And yes, you can set it up with your financial institution to be automatic, or take it in pieces throughout the year, whatever works best for you. That's right. If he had missed that $7,300 withdrawal, the penalty alone could have been over $1,800. That's a big price to pay for just missing a date on the calendar. We'll talk about how required minimum distributions, or RMDs, work and why they matter, how you can potentially lower your tax bill while doing some good in the world, how to juggle multiple accounts without accidentally causing yourself a headache, why Roth IRAs might give you more breathing room, and how all this ties into your Social Security and Medicare costs. Because here's the thing, if you don't understand these rules, the IRS could end up with more of your money than you planned, but once you do, you'll feel confident making smart decisions that help you and your family. If that sounds like something you want: clarity, control, and maybe a little peace of mind, then you're in the right place. Now let's get into the first thing every retiree turning 70 needs to understand. And that's those 3 little letters. Number 1, required minimum distributions. Let's talk about something that catches a lot of retirees off guard: the required minimum distribution, or what the IRS calls RMDs. Here's the short version. When you were saving money in accounts like your traditional IRA or 401, you were doing a good thing. You were putting money away for retirement and deferring taxes on it. But eventually, Uncle Sam wants his share. That's where RMDs come in. Starting at age 73, yes, they moved the age from 70 and a half, then to 72, and now to 73 if you were born between 1951 and 1959. You're required to take a portion of that money out every year. And yes, it counts as income, which means you'll pay taxes on it. Let me tell you a quick story. I knew a gentleman named M.R. Smith. He was one of those people who like to keep everything tidy. When he turned 73, he sat down with his tax preparer, looked up the IRS life expectancy table, and found his factor was 274. He had $200,000 in his IR, so they divided the account balance by the factor and came up with a required withdrawal of around $7,300. Not so bad, right? But here's the important part: if he had skipped it or forgot to take that amount by the December 31st deadline, the IRS could have hit him with a 25% penalty on the amount he missed. So here's what you can do. Look at your latest IRA or 401 balance, but don't ignore it. A quick review now can save you from a costly mistake later. And it's one of the easiest steps you can take to stay in control of your finances after 70. Number 2. Qualified Charitable Distributions, QCDs. Now, if you're thinking, is there any way to reduce that tax hit from my RMD? There actually is, and it's something that not only helps you but can do a world of good for others. 2, it's called a Qualified Charitable Distribution, or QCD, and trust me, this one's worth knowing about. Let's say you've always supported your local church or a favorite veterans charity. Well, once you turn 70 and a half, the IRS lets you donate directly from your IRA to a qualified charity, and it counts toward your RMD, but here's the beauty of it. That money doesn't get added to your taxable income. It goes straight from your retirement account to the charity. And you don't pay taxes on it? That's like doing good and saving on taxes all in one move? Let me give you an example. Jane, a retired teacher I spoke with, had an IRA and was required to withdraw $10,000 that year. She didn't really need the money, and she didn't like the idea of paying extra tax on it, so instead, she had her IRA send $10,000 directly to the animal shelter she volunteers with. That satisfied her RMD, and none of it showed up as taxable income on her return. Win-win. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, you must be at least 70 and a half to use this option, even though RMDs don't officially start until 73 now. Second, the donation must go directly from your IRA to the charity. You can't take the money out yourself first and then write a check. It has to be transferred straight from the account. And third, the annual limit for QCDs is currently $100,000 per person per year. Most of us won't hit that, but it's good to know the cap, so if you're someone who gives anyway, or you've been thinking about how to leave a little more good behind, this is a smart and generous strategy. It trims your tax bill and boosts a cause you care about. And the best part? You get to see the impact while you're still here. It's worth calling your IRA provider and asking them how to set it up. It might take just one form, and you've done something beautiful for your finances and for the world. Number 3. Timing your RMDs across multiple accounts. Let's say you've done a great job saving, maybe you have a couple IRAs, and even a 401k left over from your working years. That's fantastic, but here's where it gets a little tricky. If you're not careful about how you take those RMDs, you could end up with a headache or worse, a tax bill you didn't expect. So here's the key. If you have more than one traditional IRA, the IRS allows you to calculate your RMDs from each. But you don't have to take the money out of each account. You can actually total the amount required and pull it all from just one of them. That's called aggregation. It's flexible and it can make life simpler. But, and this is a big one, that rule only applies to IRAs if you also have a 401k. That's a different story. RMDs from 401ks must be taken separately from each 401k account you own. No mixing and matching there. So if you've got an old 401k sitting somewhere from a job 20 years ago, it might be time to either roll it into an IRA or at least make sure you're handling the withdrawal correctly. Let me walk you through John's situation. He had 2 IRAs, one with his local bank and another with a financial advisor, and he also had a 401k from a company he left in his 50s. His total RMDs for the year came to about $15,000. Now, John thought he could just take all of that out of the IRA with the bank and be done. But he forgot that the 401k required a separate withdrawal. Because of that slip, he missed his 401k RMD and the IRS charged him a penalty. Now, here's something else to think about. When you first start RMDs, the IRS gives you a little flexibility. For your very first one, you're allowed to delay it until April 1st of the following year. That sounds great, right? But there's a catch if you wait. Then you'll have to take 2 RMDs in that second year, one for the year you turn 73 and one for the current year. That could bump you into a higher tax bracket or even affect your Medicare premiums. So think carefully about timing. Sometimes it's better to take that first RMD in the year you're supposed to, especially if you have other income coming in the next year. Planning this out with your advisor or just sitting down with a notepad and calculator can save you from surprises and keep everything running smoothly. The more you simplify now, the easier it'll be to enjoy your retirement without worrying about red tape. Number 4, Roth IRA considerations at 70. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that often gets overlooked when folks hit their 70s, Roth IRAs. These accounts are like the quiet heroes of retirement planning, and if you Have one or are thinking about converting to one, this could be a smart time to pay attention. So here's the deal. Unlike traditional IRAs or 401ks, Roth IRAs don't require you to take required minimum distributions during your lifetime. That's right, you can let that money grow untouched and tax-free for as long as you want. No IRA's nudging you to pull money out and pay taxes on it. That alone is a pretty big deal, especially if you don't need the extra income just yet. Let me tell you about Linda. She's 69, recently retired, and has a mix of traditional and Roth accounts. After looking at her tax situation, she decided to do something that could make a big difference in the long run. She started converting small chunks of her traditional IRA into her Roth each year. That means she's paying the taxes now, while her income and tax rate are relatively low, instead of later when RMDs and Social Security might bump her into a higher bracket. And here's where it gets even smarter. Those conversions won't just give her more tax-free income later. They also help lower the size of her future RMDs, which means she's less likely to hit those dreaded Medicare IRA surcharges down the road. That's the kind of thinking ahead that gives you flexibility, control, and peace of mind. Now I know Roth conversion can sound a bit technical, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to convert everything all at once. In fact, it's often better not to. You can do it in pieces, year by year, and only up to the amount that keeps you in your current tax bracket. That's called bracket management, and it's one of the simplest, most effective retirement moves you can make. The best part? This isn't about beating the tax system, it's about understanding it, using the tools that are already there to your advantage, and giving yourself the freedom to say, I don't need that money right now, and I'd rather not be forced to take it out later. So if you've got a Roth IRA, great, know that it gives you more control than you might think. And if you don't yet, or you've been curious about converting, now's a great time to look into it. It's never too late to create a little more tax-free breathing room for your future. Number 5, coordination with Social Security and Medicare. Let's bring all of this home by talking about something that often catches retirees off guard: how your required minimum distributions can impact not just your taxes, but also your Social Security and Medicare costs. And trust me, this one's sneaky. You might not see it coming until the bill lands in your mailbox. Here's the thing. When you take RMDs from your traditional retirement accounts, that money counts as income, and when your income rises, it can affect two major benefits: how much of your Social Security gets taxed, and whether you'll owe more for Medicare Part B and Part D. This is what's known as the IRMA, income-related monthly adjustment amount. Sounds like a mouthful, but it just means you could be charged more for your Medicare premiums based on your income level. Take Todd, for example. He had a solid IRN, turned 73 this year. His RMD pushed his adjusted gross income over $103,000, and suddenly, he was paying an extra $300 a month for Medicare. That's over $3,600 a year just because his withdrawal timing bumped him into a higher income bracket. And the frustrating part? He didn't even need the money. Now, this doesn't mean you should avoid RMDs. That's not an option. They're required by law. But it does mean you can be strategic about how and when you take them. If you know an RMD will put you over the threshold, maybe you take a bit earlier in the year and spread the rest out. Or maybe you combine it with a QCD or a Roth conversion in the years leading up to 73. So the impact later is smaller. Another smart move is simply knowing the thresholds. Medicare uses your income from 2 years ago to set your premiums, so planning now affects costs down the road. And while this isn't something most people love digging into, a little bit of attention now can save you hundreds, maybe thousands in avoidable charges. The key takeaway here is this: your financial picture isn't made up of isolated decisions. Everything is connected. One move like a large withdrawal can ripple out into other parts of your retirement plan, but the good news? That also means one smart choice can save you in more ways than one. So as you think about your RMDs and your income for the year, don't forget to factor in how it could influence your benefits. With a little planning, you can keep more of your Social Security, avoid surprise surcharges, and make your retirement dollars stretch even further. We've covered a lot together today, haven't we? If you're turning 70 or already there, there's no doubt you've got a lot on your plate. But the good news is, just a little knowledge can go a long way when it comes to protecting what you've worked so hard for. Let's just take a moment and walk back through it. First, we talked about those required minimum distributions. The rule that says the IRS starts asking for a slice of your retirement pie once you hit your early 70s. It sounds strict, but once you understand how it works, the accounts it affects, how to calculate it, it gets a whole lot less intimidating. The key: don't miss your deadline and don't get caught off guard by that 50% penalty. Then we dove into qualified charitable distributions. Now that's a hidden gem if you're charitably minded. There's no better way to meet your RMD and lower your taxes all in one shot, directing some of that IRA money to your favorite, because not only keeps more in your community, it keeps less in the IRS's hands. We also touched on managing RMDs across multiple accounts. If you've got more than one IR, it's important to know how the rules work for combining those distributions. And just as important to know that 401ks don't play by the same rules. Timing matters too, especially if it's your first RMD year and you're thinking about delaying that first withdrawal. Double tax hits. No, thank you. And we talked about Roth IR as the account that's like your quiet financial guardian angel. No RMDs, no taxes, just tax-free growth and control if you're still in your 60s. Thinking about converting some traditional funds into Roth before your RMDs kick in could be one of the smartest steps you take. Finally, we tackled the big picture connection, how RMDs can affect your Social Security taxes and Medicare premiums. Most people don't expect a retirement withdrawal to hike up their healthcare costs, but it happens all the time. Planning ahead here means keeping more of your benefits in your pocket, right where they belong. So what's next? Well, just pick one thing from today. Maybe it's checking your RMD amount. Maybe it's calling your financial advisor and asking about QCDs or Roth conversions. Maybe it's pulling out last year's Medicare notice and seeing where your income landed. Whatever it is, know this: taking even one small action today is a huge step toward a more confident, more prepared retirement. You're not just following rules, you're protecting your freedom, your finances, and your peace of mind. And if this video helped you, if something clicked or made you think, I need to look into that, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, Vibrant Elders, and shared a comment below. Maybe there's a tip you've used that could help someone else here. This is a community of support, and your voice matters. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Keep living boldly, planning wisely, and embracing this incredible chapter with open eyes and a full heart. You've earned it.